Today, we are digging into one of history's most bizarre and, frankly, terrifying medical mysteries. We're talking about a plague that didn't give you a fever or sores, but an unstoppable, uncontrollable urge to dance.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, right? But this isn't fiction. This is a documented historical event. It really happened.
And that is the central mystery we're diving into. What could possibly cause hundreds of people to literally dance themselves to death?
Okay, so let's get into the facts of the case. Our story starts in the city of Strasbourg, which is now in France, during the really hot summer of 1518.
It all started with this one person, a woman named Frau Troffea. One day in July, she just walked out into the street and started to dance. There was no music, no party, just this frantic, non-stop dancing that she apparently could not control.
And here's where it gets really wild. The speed. Within just 1 week, Frau Troffea wasn't dancing alone anymore. Dozens of other people had joined her. By August, the crowd of dancers had ballooned to around 400 people, all moving uncontrollably through the city.
Yeah, and let's be really clear here. This wasn't some happy street festival. People were in a trance-like state, their bodies just twisting and jerking for days without any rest. The result was absolutely brutal. Many of them died from heart attacks, strokes, or just pure unimaginable exhaustion.
So, you've got a city in total chaos, dealing with a deadly and completely bizarre plague. What did the authorities do? Well, their response is almost as strange as the plague itself.
You're not going to believe this, but their cure was a complete and catastrophic misunderstanding. They talked to physicians and decided the problem was hot blood, and that the best thing to do was to let people dance the fever out of their systems. So they built actual stages. They cleared out halls. They even hired professional musicians to keep the beat going, thinking that more dancing would fix it. Of course, it just made things so much worse.
So what on earth was actually happening here? Modern historians and scientists have pretty much narrowed it down to two main suspects. Was this a physical problem caused by some kind of poison? Or was it psychological, a complete breakdown on a massive scale?
All right, let's look at theory number 1, the physical evidence. This theory points a finger at a very specific type of fungus.
So there's this mold called ergot that grows on damp rye, which, was a key ingredient for bread back then. When people eat it, it can cause some really severe symptoms, like muscle spasms, convulsions, and even hallucinations. And get this, it's the same fungus that LSD was first synthesized from. So yeah, we're talking about seriously potent stuff. Could poisoned bread have driven the whole city mad?
But then there's this other powerful explanation, one that suggests the plague didn't start in their stomachs, but in their minds.
This phenomenon, which you might know as mass hysteria, is what happens when a group of people is under such extreme psychological stress that it starts to cause real physical symptoms. It's like a stress response that becomes contagious, spreading from person to person without any actual virus or bacteria involved.
And to really wrap your head around this theory, you have to understand what life was like in Strasbourg in 1518. I mean, it was a living nightmare. There was famine, extreme poverty, and horrible diseases like smallpox and syphilis were everywhere. The amount of collective stress and just sheer despair was off the charts.
So we've got two pretty plausible theories, a psychoactive fungus or a society-wide psychological collapse. So, where does the evidence lead us?
While that ergot poisoning theory is really compelling, it doesn't quite explain the coordinated days-long dancing. Most historians today believe the dancing plague was an extreme case of mass psychogenic illness. It was a desperate, trance-like state brought on by years of suffering, like a collective psychological dam just completely broke.
When you look at it that way, the dancing plague becomes this really chilling historical case study. It's just a stark, powerful reminder of how deeply our minds and bodies are connected. A connection so strong that, in extreme cases, the mind can literally push the body to destroy itself.
And that really leaves us with a final, pretty unsettling question. The events in Strasbourg suggest that under the right, or maybe the wrong, circumstances, the answer might be yes. And what does that tell us about the limits of our own minds?